last night at a Wendy's. An elite group of triathletes, despondent Woj followers, shout out to Woj, and people who think Mangini and Nick had a real fight yesterday, fought and toiled and burned the midnight oil to deliver the best segment in all of sports. It's an honor and a privilege. It's time for week 3 of Tears.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, as always, Kevin Wilds. And people missed the top of the show, or if Coach wasn't watching from our green room, which doesn't actually exist, but it's a little lobby area where you can watch the show. We did have a committee member sadly resign out of solidarity to you. Not even because they thought we had a real fight, but they just said, and I quote, "How dare you raise your voice like that to my dear friend Eric Mangini," and walked out of the room. So, Tears this week, we're down a man. We'll miss Dante Scarnecchia from the Tears. And we do have an opening. Now, we need an offensive line coach to really help us figure it out. Now, to the bottom of the Tears. Brink of elimination. All 32 teams are still Tears eligible, but these 4 teams are on the brink. And honestly, Tears and Wednesdays at 4 o'clock will be better once we've eliminated a few of these scallywags. On to the next one. Oh, isn't that cute? You gotta win. Hey, that's just adorable. Some people, even because you got the win, think like that fact that we thought you might be the worst team in football coming into the year, that's now gone. Like the Patriots, or that the Raiders have a competent offense, or that the Browns aren't going to regress back to who they've been when Deshaun plays. And Washington, by the way, I put you in a different category. You're starting a rookie quarterback right now, so you're supposed to not really be competitive. And also you beat the Giants, which is the one team Daniel Jones had success against, but that's where he fell. Absolutely maddening. And this for different reasons. For the Colts, man, Gus Bradley, I love you, man. But everyone in the world knew that the Packers were just going to run the ball, not trust Malik Willis to pass, and yet you let them just run the ball all over you. Now you've lost DeForest Buckner. That's a concern. For the Jags, everything about them is maddening right now, including them costing me credibility and actual cash money week after. When's the last time they won, Wilds?
It was the weekend after
Thanksgiving. It's not good for your boy. The Rams and Dolphins, it's not your fault. Just injuries for the Rams to everyone, to the Dolphins to your quarterback, and that's maddening for your fans because you were supposed to, be legitimate contenders this season. East Coast bias. These teams are not contending for anything. Yet every talk show in America has to evidently pretend they are. Like, are we talking about the Eagles today? Are we talking about the Jets today? Why? Somebody tell me what is the thing either of these teams is great at? Are they well coached? No. Do we fully trust either quarterback? No. Oddly, do we trust either defense right now? No. Do they both have a great wide receiver and another couple cool weapons? Yeah. So does 2/3 of the league. But they're the Eagles and the Jets, so we're going to keep pretending. That's fine. Thank God for the committee. We're not going to be fooled by these teams, nor will we be bullied by anyone, particularly people with oddly undersized tight shirts. Like, oh, if you're not talking about them, what are you doing today? Guys, I'm happy that these teams are 2-0, and I really like Geno and Mike McDonald. I think what Mike Tomlin does year after year is remarkable. Kevin O'Connell is one of the best coaches in the league, and Alvin Kamara's resurgence is one of the best stories in the league. None of these teams are contending for anything. And if not for the committee, if we were all just standing zealots, we'd have to be like, well, what do you want them to do? What do you want them to do? Be real contenders is what you want to do to move up the rankings. Running out of time. Yeah, that's right. That's 2 0-2 teams above 4 2-0 teams. Doesn't matter. I still believe in these teams, but they are both running out of time. As Wilds has been talking about, 0-3 is a true death knell historically. And the sneaky problem for these two teams is they're both 0-2. They're in the same division. They're going to beat each other up along with the rest of the division. I have more faith in the Bengals, even if I think the Ravens oddly might have more talent, just because the Bengals have 4th place schedule, Ravens have 1st place schedule, but still, they're running out of time. You have our attention. If the NFC is truly wide open, one of these teams could find itself playing the final weekend of the conference championship weekend, I could say. The Bucs just do keep winning. The Cardinals' offense has been dynamic. The Falcons put a lot of eggs into this year's basket, and all of a sudden Kirk and that 2-minute drill started looking like Kirk. And I understand all of the Bears commentary, understandably, has been about how bad the quarterback play has been. The flip side of that is they have had arguably the best defense in the league through 2 weeks. We can throw out what they did to Tennessee. Holding C.J. Stroud and that Texans offense to 19 points and keeping them in it despite Caleb's mistakes means that defense is for real. And no matter what you think of Caleb, he won't be as bad moving forward as he was these first 2 weeks. Coaching masterclass, Chargers and Packers. Now, I understand the Packers are 1-1, and they could lose until they get Jordan Love back. But what they were able to do last week, what Matt LaFleur has consistently done since he's been there, and the Chargers would find ways to lose in the past. Now, Jim Harbaugh got there. Everyone's like, hey, what's he going to do? It's like, I don't know. Signed a redhead, 6-foot, 300-pound fullback, drafted tackle number 6, probably going to run the damn ball. Guess what he's doing? J.K. Dobbins, league MVP. Right, Justin Herbert just throwing dinks and dunks for 140 yards a game, doesn't matter. All right, everyone calm down about these teams. The blue chip talent still jumps off the page. Some of us might have questions about one quarterback. Some might have questions about the other quarterback. Might have questions about their ability to win the biggest games at the most important time of the year. But on a week-to-week basis, they are still 2 of the best teams in football. America's rooting for you. So what do I mean by that? Well, for the Lions, it's pretty self-explanatory. I think everyone has a soft spot in their heart for the Lions. For the Texans and the Bills, it's very simple. You're America's last best hope at preventing what is evidently the new villains. Rig the games, hate Kelsey, hate Mahomes from the inevitable three-peat in the Arrowhead Invitational being a 7th straight endeavor, which is rival-less at the top. And what do I mean by rival-less? If I were to tell you the Bengals, the longest losing streak to any one team they have in the AFC is their losing streak to the Chiefs. So nobody beats them more often than the Chiefs beat them, but they're supposed to be the Chiefs' rival. They're the team that has the Chiefs' number. They've lost 3 straight. We know the Ravens can't. We know that no one in the AFC West can't. We know the Bills can't in the playoffs. Top the tiers, rival-less Kansas City Chiefs. Coach Mangini, this is going to be the week. This is going to be the week that you say those beautiful words. You have nothing to add. The tiers were perfect.
Nick always accuses me of being late to the party on my takes, but the flip side of that is, if you're not invited to a Nick Wright party, you're never getting invited to a Nick Wright party. And that's just how it is. But in the words of C.J. Stroud, you need to learn from your mistakes, Nick. And here's where it is. You got to bump New Orleans up. You have to bump New Orleans up.
You too.
Now let's just throw on a little bit of information here. So let's pull up the first graphic about how well the quarterback's been doing. We've seen that. We saw this yesterday. So it's first, second, third. So that's the one side. And now let's look at what they're doing defensively. Okay, so we pop up there. Okay, so now they're 4th in opponent points per game, turnover differential, takeaways, right on down the line. So they've been solid in both areas. And you look at your tiers, and the team they beat is, I don't know, what, 6 tiers above them, where I don't know where the Cowboys are. And then you want to talk about quarterbacks, because you don't like Derek Carr. I get it. He'll never come to a Nick Wright party. But you're talking about what? Look at the other part. Murray, he's got question marks. Cousins, he's got question marks. Yeah. Caleb, question mark.
This isn't Mahomes Mountain. This isn't about
what I'm just saying is, whatever you're talking about, why these other teams are above the Saints, and you don't like Carr, and you don't like the Saints,
can I tell you?
And they're never going to get invited to one of your parties. I get it. So that's where they stay.
So a couple things. One is, do I still have seared in my memory Derek Carr in the one playoff game he ever played in on 4th down with the chance to beat the Cincinnati Bengals, deciding, I'll just throw short of the end zone for no reason? Yeah, of course I do. Do I have seared in my memory the 2 other times in his career he has had a 5-game stretch similar to the one he's on, the heater he's on right now dating back to last season, only to immediately go back to being Derek Carr? Yeah, I do. But my big issue with the Saints is actually not Derek Carr related. If I have a single issue with the Saints, it's that I think they have, if we were ranking head coaches in the NFL, sorry, coach, but Dennis Allen, there's not a single coach, team above them on the tiers that I think has a bigger question at head coach. They also are an incredibly old roster, and I just think it's fluky. I know though, and by the way, I think most people agree with me. I think there's this weird like conscience where people are like, well, I don't really believe in them, but I think they deserve us to pretend we do. You know what?
Yeah.
That's why you need the committee.
That's 100%
Emotionless. Right, they deserve it.
Yeah.
Like it's kids kickball, and it's like everybody's got to get a turn. It's the NFL. It's the committee's tiers. We're not going to be fooled by your guys' pedantic emotions.
His party.
Yeah,
no
well,
matter
you know what?
what?
Maybe the committee will be
Doesn't
proven
matter
wrong.
what they
We'll
do.
see. Bro.
All right,
kept Dante.
I think my bar, Nick, Nick, you got to stop drinking the Jerry juice. All right, the Cowboys should not be that high. Now, like you, I have them making the playoffs, but they right there, the third tier, no. They should be down. They just got shellacked at home in their home opener, giving up 44 points. They have no run game to speak of, and one of the trends so far this season, defenses have shown, look, we're stopping the pass. We've caught up.
True.
And now you need to have good run games. The quarterback, all of a sudden, Dak Prescott, is an interception waiting to happen against good teams. Last 3 games against good teams with winning records, he's got 5 interceptions. Last 3 games in teams with winning records, 5 interceptions. Your defensive front and then your linebackers too got pushed around by an offensive line that most people thought coming into the season was suspect. So Dallas should be, I think the Chargers, the Packers, the Niners, who are equal with Dallas on there, Baltimore and Cincinnati should all be ahead of Dallas on the tiers.
Baltimore and Cincinnati should be ahead of them, and one of the complaints you have about Dallas is their suspect offensive line. That doesn't, to me, pass the smell
I think it's
test.
been more suspect than even Baltimore.
The Packers are the toughest one. The Packers I almost consider separate, because the Packers without Jordan Love are obviously too high, but with Jordan Love they could be too low. And so there is, to me, a lot of the concerns you listed for Dallas also apply to San Francisco. And so I think the committee got the Cowboys exactly right. Go ahead, Lawrence.
You know what I like? And I know it's not the standards.
Mediocre quarterbacks.
So that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
But this quarterback's not mediocre, and I've come around on him. And I've said, you know what? My bigger issue with this guy wasn't winning games. Oh, he's had the arm talent. But now he's winning games too. And he's not doing a lot. I'm moving the Chargers up.
Ooh.
My bar is, I don't know, being undefeated seems pretty good. First of all, near and dear to Coach's heart. And Bruce,
They're high.
They should be higher. They haven't lost a game.
So it's same with 8 other teams.
Exactly. Chargers ranked. They used to just throw the ball. Say, hey, we got Justin Herbert. Made sense. Throw the ball around. Now Harbaugh comes in and said, no, I'm actually not going to do that. You zig, I zag. So running works. We know that. Move on to Herbert. I still think eventually they're going to get around and be like, hey, man, air that thing out. So his yards at 140, 130 versus Carolina. Granted, Carolina, you don't really need to throw the ball too much. But still, we haven't seen the best of Herbert. Now, he is on ankle watch. Plantar fasciitis watch. He was on, but now he's also on ankle watch. So it might be Easton stick time. As you know.
No. It can't be Easton stick time.
Is Easton?
I'd run the Wildcat.
Well, as you know, I love all quarterbacks
They'll keep running.
named after baseball bats. So shout out to Easton Stick. So he could get a win against the Steelers. And finally, Chargers with Joey Bosa. Excellent. So until they
help
lose
him for another 7 or 8 games that he plays this year.
Well, still. Until they lose, the Chargers have to be respected.
Can we show
Well, you gotta win.
Can I give a theory? Just to America real quick. The tiers normally arrive in everyone's inbox first thing in the morning, but because of the hubbub from our resignation last night, the tiers were late arrivals. I think Wilds presented this entire Chargers case before he realized how high the committee had them. How high do you want them? They're on the 4th highest tier. There's only 6 teams above them. You think they're better than the teams above them?
I don't think that. 1, 2. It doesn't go left. Does it go left? Right?
No.
Okay. The Cowboys don't belong anywhere up there. If you get embarrassed in your home stadium,
So what
drop.
about the Lions who lost at home?
They didn't get embarrassed. They lost.
Okay.
They didn't get embarrassed.
No, I agree.
We're
with
like,
you. They
hey,
didn't get
this hasn't happened since.
No. They didn't get
decades.
blown out. I agree.
Yeah.
With you. Okay.
So
I think the Chargers. I think the committee respected the Chargers immensely. Twofold concern. One is how much of Herbert's numbers being what they are just because Harbaugh wants to run the ball, and how much are because Herbert's not 100% and they have no weapons to speak of through the passing game? You know what? I think that is a legitimate concern. And are you 2-0 if one of your wins was against Carolina? These are questions people are asking about the Saints
I think that is
and
fair.
the Chargers.
But the Saints
are they
answered that.
actually right? The Saints did
If they
answer
get it
that.
in reverse, I get it.
The Saints did answer that. But so that's the concern. But again, the committee showed a lot of respect to the Los Angeles Chargers.
True.
They did.
It wasn't bad.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.